this love been feeling kinda old, think a nigga need something new. Yeah, so I've been feeling old ways, creep back in, I don't wanna do it. Yeah, new thing on the line.
Of course.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about how you got into making music.
Yo, it's crazy. I started making music a little after I was about 8 years old. You know, my pops, he had played As Y'all Change Pac, All Eyes on Me. He played that for me in the web, and it just changed my perspective on things. You know what I mean? He was saying things that I would see in my block. You know what I mean? And so I've just been writing ever since, man. Yeah, it's been a passion of mine. I was in the battle, underground battle stuff in high school, and then from there I just started making music. This is my second album, so it's just been grinding, bro. It's always been a part of me in poetry, so yeah.
What was life like growing up for you here in Chicago?
It was crazy, man. I grew up on the south side of Chicago in many places. Me and my pops, we moved a lot. My mom's, we were in Morgan Park for a while, went to Morgan Park High School, and grew up in the Inglewood area. And it's just crazy, man. That defined really the trajectory of where my life would go, because I lost, like many of my counterparts, a lot of homies growing up. Particularly, there was this one dude named Eddie Lucas, who I grew up with, used to hoop with, rap with, everything. I wrote this poem about him, and the shit that I was seeing in my neighborhood. And that's what really got me attention for making music and poetry and shit like that. It was that piece. It was like featured on HBO one day. But it defined like how I even live my life. I work and lead this nonprofit, Young Chicago Authors. And, it's just all about giving back to young shorties that grew up like me, because I saw the shit that you can go through, and the different paths you could take. And that's just, it's part of the narrative of the music of my type too, Yeah.
So you touched a little bit about some of this, but I see you're heavily involved in the community here in Chicago.
Yes, sir.
Speak a little bit more about what you're involved in.
Yes, sir. Like I said, when I was 15 years old, I ran into this nonprofit called Young Chicago Authors. I was, like I said, I was in a battle rap scene, but I had never, competed or did any spoken word poetry, and I did that, and I stayed in that for years, and so I always knew that I wanted to come back to the city eventually and do that work. And so I've been working at Young Chicago Authors for the past 10 years. It's a part of me. I lead their fundraising. And also I have a scholarship in honor of my pops. It's called the Dream Real Big Scholarship Fund. And basically it just gives scholarships to 7th and 8th graders on the south side of Chicago. So, yeah.
In your opinion, what's one thing that the Chicago music scene is missing, or what could it benefit from?
Oh man, it's crazy. The Chicago music scene has been budding for so many years, you know what I mean? It got everything you think you want, you know what I mean? It has storytelling, it has, really reflections, portraitures of the city. It has, turn up shit, got drill shit, got everything that's spread all over the fucking country, But I think the bigger thing that I would look for is like, routing music, music that, you can reflect on, like be introspective on. I think all the joints where I learned the most was shit that I play that you could just, sort of vibe out to, have some space in. And so, yeah, I'm looking for that, just, going back to like, Ice Cube, Predator type shit, you know what I mean? I think it's missing like, what's the revolution when you actually in it, you know what I mean? And I think I'd like to hear more of that in the city. And I think it's here. I think it's a lot on the south side. I done seen a lot of shorties too coming up through the programming, and it's like, they're crazy, you know what I mean? They spitting. And so, I would say that. I'm looking forward to it because I know it's coming. So, yeah.
So you're a man of many occupations, father, poet, artist,
yes,
activist. How do you find time to balance it? How do you manage balancing all these jobs?
Yeah, bro, I never stop, man. I never stop. I got, I made promises, to my people. I got 2 beautiful daughters, Ellen and Edison. I want to make sure that they good, they solid, and no matter what they do. And I also, my pops, he recently passed away, in August. And one thing he always wanted me to do was put my music out and make sure that I was, really good and dedicated in all the lanes that I really wanted to be in. And I saw him work every single day, and I made promises to him, you know what I mean? And so it keeps me going every single day. And just the love people showing me out off this tape, because it kind of came out of nowhere, and for people to show so much love, and then also just to be able to help young people, like I said, it does a lot for my spirit, so it keeps me going. But yeah, it's that. I don't get tired like that. I don't get tired.
With the style of rap today being more focused on the vibe and having fun, what was it that made you take more of a storytelling approach?
Yeah, and I fuck with all that too. I fuck with all the music. You know, it's a range, and it's you know, it's a worthy range. Everything. You know, for me, I grew up on All Eyes on Me. You know, on Illmatic. You know, on artists who were, you know, talking about their city, talking about the things they see, the things they care about. Even Channel, like there's so many rappers in the city that tell those stories, and it's an honor to be a part of that lineage. And it's always kind of been in me, you know. And I want to make sure that I can, you know, tell these portraits that I see in a meaningful way, and just let it impact people, you know, let them sit with it. So.
Who are some of your biggest inspirations in life? In what way do they inspire you?
My pops was the biggest inspiration to me. You know, he introduced me to everything that I know. You know, I was by his side, you know, since I was about, you know, forever. But you know what I mean. Remember riding with him to jobs. You know what I mean. Doing everything with him, and he put me on game. You know, and so he always gave me that drive very early on, and you know, even the irrational courage was shit I wasn't even good at. You know what I mean. And to have that, I know not everybody has that. You know, and so it was such a big thing for me. It impacts how how I am as a father. You know, it impacts how I work. You know, all that. And then, you know, musically, man, it's crazy. I love Nas, man. You know, it's an easy answer, but I grew up on Nas, man. He kept it true, and I think the stories he told were always part of the times. And it just does so much. I mean, even King's Disease, even the most recent, you know, shit he put out. And so those are two people I really lean my hat on. You know.
How has the pandemic been treating you so far?
Shit, I went to work. You know, I just kept working. It was actually, you know, it's devastating. You know what I mean? It's horrible. It's particularly having daughters, you know, and they going to school. You know what I mean? You worry about them, and you worry about all the people around you. But you know, being inside, it gave me a different drive and a different focus. So I was able to make like 6 albums. You know, I'm 6 deep. I got it. You know, even an R&B tape with some people. I got some amazing features coming out with people in the city. And so, you know, it just put me in this work mode. And I made, you know, just like everybody, affirmations and things that I want to do for the year. And I've been checking them. I'm going to keep checking them, man, you know, because you got to walk into that. You know what I mean? You say something, you got to walk into greatness, you know. And so that's what I've been trying to do in the pandemic, man. We'll see how it go. Yeah. We still in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you fresh off the release of your project, Surveillance Alert.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come up with the title for that album?
Yo, it's crazy. So I went through like 3 titles for that. So the first one I think was Fun, and it was like For Us Niggas, and then Thug came out with Fun. And I was like, yo, I ain't gonna touch that. You know, I'm gonna let that nigga have that. And then who was it? Brown Like My Dogs. You know, a metaphor and reflection for like our people. You know what I mean? But also I got 2 big brown pit dogs. You know what I mean? But I went from that. And then as I started making the tape and I started telling a lot of stories, it was a lot about surveillance, like how people watch you, you know what I mean, how people perceive you, the shit you see around you, you know what I mean, and always being ready for something to come, even if it's not gonna come, because you gotta be on target. You know, I listen a lot, like I said, that Predator tape that Q made, because he talked about how a man positions himself to build his business, but to protect his family. And you know, run a multitude of things. And so when I was with it, I came up with, I was like, that. And you know, it's crazy. The album cover is actually a Google Maps photo. Like I'm in it like this coming outside. It's a dude running past in a car. And I went online one day. My daughter went online. Ella, she Google image our crib, and she said to me, she's like, Daddy, what you doing outside like that? So I just used it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what it is, though. That's what it is. I'm proud of it, man. It was a step in the right direction, I think, musically. So, yeah.
Now, I know you said this is your second project. Your first one came out a long time ago, right when you got out of college.
Yeah, a minute ago. Yeah.
How was it? How did it feel after the release of this project?
It felt amazing, man, because it's wild. Like, I have a totally different base of people who listen to me. I have a totally different base of, you know, of like a new sort of genre and style since then. I had built up a lot to make that tape. I had took, you know, the guerrilla style street marketing shit where I would go to every school and pass out my tape. I passed out like 10,000 of those. It was called Real Bad Day. It's night and day from this project to that. But you know, it felt so good because I didn't put in work, man. I didn't have, you know, 2 shorties. I done a lot of things, experienced a lot of things like pain, joy, everything. And so to be able to do this tape, put so much into it, I mean, like hours and hours, and have people really love it, have it play on Power 92 yesterday, all these different things. It's such a blessing, man. And I, not only wish my pops was here, but, just being able to show my daughters is crazy, man. You saw them dancing yesterday, bro, when they came on. It's just, that's what I want to do it for. You know what I mean? I don't even need to make nothing from it. I just want people to hear it and, just be inspiring. Yeah.
Last month, you released a visual to your song "Real," and I think it's important for people to be able to recognize the difference between real and fake. What does real mean to you, or what does being real look like?
Yeah, and I learned a lot about that, man. It's one thing to be real, just being honest, right? It's one thing to tell, your story authentically, be who you are authentically, and it takes a lot to learn that, like years, like I'm still learning that, right? But it's also the morals and character that you have, and when you get put in certain situations, how you react and how you respond in those situations. I know plenty of niggas that's, they say they about it. When something go down, they disappear, and it's happening all the time. Not only in my life, not only to my peers, but it feels like it's a fabric. And most of the people that be talking shit, like most of the people that got the biggest mouths, that shit fake. You know what I mean? And so when I came up with that concept and that title, I was at the crib. I was with my boy Josh. He made a lot of my beats, and I was like, yo, you fuck with this, right? I was like, it's gonna hit people too hard. You know what I mean? Like somebody gonna think I'm dissing them. You know what I mean? Coming out. And he's like, that shit cold. And since then, we just roll with it. It was really the foundation for all the Surveillance Slurs. The first song I wrote for it. So, yeah.
When it's all said and done, what do you want your impact on the world to be?
Man, I want to be, a person that, shorties could look to as a model, as a reflection. The one thing that I learned, even from the last years of making that first tape and this one, is that you can be a multitude. You're a multitude, like all of us, and we can be all the things we are and not have to compromise anything for the sake of other people. And so I want to be a model for the young black and brown kids in the city that's growing up, to see that, yo, you can do your rap shit, but also go in and balance $1 million budget. You can go in and create a scholarship instead of hoping and praying that McDonald's make it or somebody make it or anybody. You can do it on your own, and just try to lay out those blueprints, the logistics for it. And it's crazy because you already see the fruits of it, and the young people I've been giving the scholarships to, man, they like coming up with city plans, bothering their aldermen, you know what I mean, organizing as 7th graders. And I'm like, that's the shit that I want to see later, you know what I mean? And I try to work in lineage of people like my man Kevin Cole. He started that Louder Than a Bomb poetry festival in the city, and just to see how he can get young people to consistently be true to themselves and tell their stories. I just want to do something like that, you know what I mean, leave an impact like that, and let the music do that too, and stay true. Yeah.